Hi everyone. Now Ramesh has joined us. He's the founder of PuppyPay. He's going to talk about money in today's world from a blockchain perspective. Ramesh, the floor is yours, man. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dear friends, actually today I will share you information about what is money in today's world, and we will look at that from a blockchain perspective. I will first Okay, if you look at history, we have seen East India Company started, and along with that, the corporate model evolved. So how it all happened at that time was a few enterprising people used to do fundraising in Britain, and they used to use that to fulfill market demands around the world. And so they arrived in India, and also they were able to set up many industries to supply goods from Britain to India, also around the world. So that was the model that many people copied, and based on that, the new corporate models evolved. So there are a lot of learnings we can get from understanding how they use the corporate model to increase wealth in the whole ecosystem. So I have given the link below where William has explained more in details. I will share the video later. You could look at that video. Now I will go to the fundamentals of money. Okay, so if you look at the current financial system, we have around 14 lakh crore rupees printed in India, and we have 140 crore people population, and I think and there is around 10k per person is what is printed rupee notes. And if you look at the banking money, it is 10 times the banks can lend up to 10 times the money they have as reserve. So that is called fractional reserve lending. And then the market capitalization is we can go as much as there is a demand. That is similar to how in our cloud computing, whenever we have demand for market, we increase the number of servers. Like that, the money can expand by issuing IPOs, shares, tokens, and the demand fulfilled in the economy. This is how typically it works. And if people rely just on printed money, the economic activity will be very less, and because of which the wealth creation cannot happen. I will show you in later slides how banking money helps, then how the market capitalization helps. Okay, after that you will be able to appreciate the benefits of banks as well as capitalization models. Okay, here I have taken from Wikipedia some diagrams of how the US economy, various numbers from that. Here, if you see, $3.9 trillion is the actual printed money notes. Okay, and then the banking assets was 39 trillion, and the other assets was 290 trillion. Typically, it comes to 1 is to 10 is to 100. Like for example, if the amount of money printed is 1, 10 times FRL, fractional reserve lending, can be there. That is, banks can lend money up to 10 times the printed money. Okay, and then the market capitalization can expand as much as possible as long as the people are able to pay for the goods and services provided, and they are able to fulfill the bank loans. So typically they expand as much as possible here, and then if it fails, then it becomes a bad money, and then there will be a bailout typically. Okay, these things you can ask me later if you have any questions. Sorry, just a minute. Okay. So what are we talking here? Creating value in every transaction, capitalizing by fundraising, capitalizing by issue of shares, coins. Then how blockchain can help in the above models. So first thing is the contract law around the world tells that we have to create value in every transaction. That means if somebody pays me 1 lakh rupees, I should be able to create a value to him more than 1 lakh rupees. That is what the law tells. And that is first fundamental we have to follow. Once we start creating value for every transaction, then you can raise funds based on the your quality work that you're doing. That is what is done by fundraising. Some investors will see that you are doing a good job, and then they will be able to invest in you. That is what is fundraising. Okay, and once you have done this thing for 10 people, now you have the ability to issue coins or shares based on what work you are doing. Okay, and once you start issuing shares and coins, you come under security regulations 1933, 1934. That is the US regulations. Equivalent regulations exist in India also. Okay, and then comes out the opportunities from that. And now once you have all these things, now you can think of what can be done with blockchain for all these things. But the first principle is, whatever you do, that is, whenever you take money or whenever you give money, you should ensure there is a value. If you do a transaction, if somebody pays me 1 lakh rupees and I don't do a good job, okay, then you will fail. The first principle is, for every transaction you have to create value. That is, whenever money transaction happens. Okay, I'll go to the next slides. Okay, typically in industry, we think about affordability value, convenience value, long-term value, flexibility value, emergency value, etc., etc. Okay, each of these values we sell it to the user. Okay, I am giving you this convenience, because of that you buy my share or buy my tokens, or I am making your life secure, I am making your life safe. All those things we sell. Okay, so now whenever we sell these things, you can capitalize on that. Okay, this can be done by communicating these values to the customers or clients. Okay, okay, so now when you create these values, what happens? Okay, see, the US market, I am taking this as example, where in 2009 it was $290 trillion. Okay, now can I make it $500 trillion? Is the question I am looking at. So using all these values which I showed in the previous slides, if you start issuing tokens, coins, and deliver those values, actually you are trying to go from $290 trillion to $500 trillion. Basically, you are creating a new money, which is like shares, coins, tokens, and you are delivering this to the society. Okay, just like East India Company could supply services around the world, you could as well supply services around the world by creating these values and delivering around the world. Okay, so this is what is the money that you can play with. Okay, the printed money is very little, it hardly matters, and banking money is also very painful to use. So you don't have to worry about that. You can focus on what value you create and how you capitalize on that value and how you deliver it to the people. Okay, basically I'm telling you, ensure a proper merit-based value creation in the economy. Okay, and once you do that, even the security regulations will be in favor of you. Okay, there are some flaws wherein we can do mistake of not creating value but just sell tokens. So at that time the security regulation will kick in, and then we may be violating some laws. So the first principle is create value, then based on that you start proceeding to the next steps. Okay, I'll go to the next slide now. Okay, what is the transaction? Okay, any transaction has to be a win-win. For example, I sell some product to or service to a person. I know that it is not useful for him, but still I sell it. Okay, that is not a win-win. Okay, that person may lose and he will not come back to you. Okay, or you may lose and for example, I do it for free, and then that person takes the money, but there is a lose-win. Even that is not a sustainable model. So the model that is sustainable is win-win. So this is also the purpose of the law, and this is also the correct model to work. And in this, blockchain can ensure that these values are communicated as well as enforced, implemented. Okay, and the future is there, and also it is achievable. Okay. Okay, winning in every transaction. Winning here means you both win. Okay, any one person lose is not a win. Okay, so what does the US contract law tells? Okay, ensure scope for both parties to win. It also tells a joke is not a contract. A one-sided deal is not a contract. Giveaway is not a contract. Both have negotiated from a position of strength. Only then it is a contract. See, the intention of the law is very clear. Okay, so we have, when we do with proper understanding, every transaction, both the people become rich in every activity. So that is how wealth gets built, and that is the value we can capitalize on. Okay, so here, blockchain as a communicator of value. Assume I want to reach from $290 trillion US industry to $500 trillion industry. So now blockchain will be the most beautiful facilitator that can make this happen, and we can all be the party to this increased wealth creation in the world. Okay, most people tell disruption is the order of the day. Okay, and they disrupt financial industry, transportation industry, etc., etc. But I am thinking disruption is, although we talk about disruption, we should also focus on ensuring value in every transaction is the order of the day. Because if you just disrupt, okay, there are two, three things that can happen. One is you will create loss of jobs. You may be violating laws. Okay, and many other issues will come up. So we can focus on enhancing value for in every transaction using blockchain, and then communicating that value to the person who is paying money, and ensuring that he appreciates what you have given. So then you are in favor of the people as well as the society as well as the regulator. Okay. Okay. Now we'll do deep dive. For economic numbers in history as well as learning and roadmap. Okay, here I have already explained this slide before. Here I'm talking about M0 money supply $3.9 trillion, and fractional reserve lending is 10 times. Corresponding to this, Indian numbers are around 14 lakh crores. I have rounded this. Actually, it is 17.9, but I have put it as 14 just for convenience. And fractional reserve is 140 lakh crores. You just observe these numbers. I'll explain in the further slides. Okay, here we'll do some understanding about what happens if we have just bank and printed notes. See, if I have just 10,000 rupees per head printed and there are no banks, okay, then probably the chances of you earning is just 500 rupees per opportunity. Okay, and with 500 rupees you cannot do much. Okay, and assume you have just the banks that is having 10 lakh rupees, 1 lakh rupees available, then probably the probability of you earning is just 5,000 rupees per chance. So basically, people are willing to spend just 5% of the funds they have access to. That is a typical. See, this is what we can see. If you go to a small village, you can, if you earn 5,000 rupees, it is a great thing. If you go to a forest, you can earn only probably 500 rupees because there is no bank in the forest, and in a village there is only one bank. So if you have access to capitalization funds, you can earn 50,000 rupees per chance. Okay, that is the this you can analyze based on these numbers. Okay, this is the same thing I explained before. Okay, limitations. Considering Indian context with 500 rupees per month earning, very less an individual can do. Although they are willing to work, they are willing to innovate, but jobs will not increase, incomes will not come. So this is the reason we need to have more capitalization in India. That is issue of shares, coins. Of course, you have to follow the laws. Also, the regulator has to relax the laws. Okay, and then these problems which I mentioned can be solved. Okay, I will explain a little bit about these banks and also the US depression, how they solved the problem. Okay, here I am explaining how banks work. Typically, the bank's model is similar to how the virtual memory works in our laptops. So if you have 1 G or 2 GB of RAM, and each process takes 2 GB, by the method of virtual memory, it gets multiplied 100 times or 10 times. Okay, similarly, whatever is the printed money into 10 times the banks can lend. It is similar to the VMM in the laptop. Okay, so even if actually just like here how the memory is released After the work is over, here whenever the person who is borrowed the money returns the money to the bank will use it again. For comparison, you can use this model. Okay, if you look at 1929 US depression, they had the same problem as we have today in India. Okay, and but what the people did there was they found that without printing extra money, we should increase jobs, we should increase wealth creation in America. And what they found was there were investors who were willing to create jobs and all those things. But then the problem was nobody used to trust them. So what the regulators in that country did was they created this regulation 1933 and 1934. And once they did that, the confidence in the people became higher. And because of that, they started investing in shares, coins, shares in the at those time. And using that money, the investors built wealth for America. Okay, that same model we need to also use it, because that is the model currently in practice in the world. Okay, so what happens then? The US the law ensured fairness, enforcement, communication disclosures was part of that thing. Earlier it was a win-lose, provided because of the regulation it provided two-way value creation. It became sustainable. Economic recovery happened in America, and now it was $290 trillion in 2009, and it also created high-paid jobs in America because of the this particular regulation only. Okay, benefits of that particular law. The investors fund and the investment ensured more companies created, more companies got created, more jobs was created, high-paid jobs, and then the problem of 1929 depression was solved. Companies became risk-reward carriers. Here you should note that these companies can start and close. That is normal. There is nothing wrong if a company closes. It is like a server. When you are having a Christmas, you start a new cloud server. Once it is the service is over, you shut down the server. Similarly, when the economy requires some service to be done, a new company can get started. Once the job is over, the company can close. It is normal, and don't worry if you lose a job. Okay, that is the expected of this particular pattern of economy. Okay, and innovation and growth happened. So it is based on demand. The companies can get started based on demand. Okay, here I am explaining the same thing I told in the previous slide. It is similar to cloud servers. When there is a requirement, start a company, run it for 2 years, do the market capitalization, make profit, and the share value will automatically vanish because there is no more demand, and the company closes, go for a next company. So this is the current economic model. Okay, so if you know it, you will feel more comfortable. Otherwise, you will be worried, or my company is closing, and I have done so much of work. Yeah, you have done, no doubt, but you should understand the game. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, what can blockchain do? Okay, here under this 1933 Act, the companies are free to do anything. Okay, the law only tells disclose and do it. It does not tell you don't do bad things. For example, you can have a cigarette company or a drug company, whatever. As long as you do the disclosure, it is allowed. Okay, and customer and investors decide whether they need to allow or not to allow. It is up to the people to decide. You can look at these laws because it's important. Everybody knows the law, so I have mentioned these things. Okay, how blockchain can be used? Okay, for example, quality, you can use it to communicate quality information. You can give rewards, incentives based on blockchain. Economies in the remote places can be enabled. For example, Bitcoin. If people cannot lend, if banks don't lend, Bitcoin can lend here. Okay, financial inclusion increases market size, efficient supply chain, better access to funds, reduced costs, better compliance and disclosures made by companies help get a better valuation. Okay, so all those things are benefits that you get from blockchain. So basically, blockchain is the main tool that can be used to double the US economy size. It means, and we can be part of it. Okay. And here I'm in US because it is easy for me to explain. It applies around the world. I have listed here how supply chain can be improved using blockchain, and similarly in other slides, compliance industry, you can blockchain can add value. Then we have just a minute. Loyalty industry, you can add value. Then insurance industry, IoT and data management. For example, in the insurance and other domains, IoT can capture the information that are required by insurance industry and make the processing of insurance faster. There is a new value you can provide in this. Okay, and then logistic industry, financial industry. Okay, so now here with blockchain, the value of economic activities can be increased across various segments due to improved communication of value between them. And the method of money in today's world is by creating value, capitalizing on that value created, delivering the value and sustaining the value. Once you have created a share, you have to sustain its value. That is your duty, because there are a lot of people who trust you because they have purchased your coin or shares. Okay, so you are a responsible person in ensuring its value. Of course, you have to follow market laws, and they should also know that you are following that. That is the reason you can see many companies shift from one domain of work to other domain. Well, what they're doing is they are ensuring the value for the shares. Okay, I think that's all I want to tell. I am willing to take questions. Okay, and
Thank you. Thanks, Ramesh.
sure.
I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in the immediate future, like we can assume in some way blockchain has transformed the financial system a little bit with the help of Bitcoin. But in the immediate future, how do you what are the next steps do you see like blockchain taking in the next 5 years, 10 years? Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, right now, what I am thinking is we have to focus on the ground level opportunities that are there. That is, we have to do the homework from the fundamentals. Okay, many people get confused looking at the news, because the news is more about selling something. Okay, but we have to become familiar with the fundamentals and then start growing, add blockchain to that, and deliver the value from that one. See, most people are concentrating on protecting their businesses. For example, a supply chain industry will try to protect its supply chain through blockchain. So what we can focus is creating value from our perspective and then start delivering it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Ramesh, can you please close the slides now?
yeah, I
And
will.
can the attendees get these slides later on?
Yeah, I will give that. I will
Okay.
send it to you.
Yeah, and there's one question. Let me just ask him. Ankur wants to ask a question directly.
Sure, sure.
Hi, Ramesh sir.
Yeah.
Thanks for your presentation.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask how can we implement blockchain in healthcare supply chain? Do you have any clients with you who are working on this idea?
No, actually, in healthcare domain, I have no clients, but I have a technology which I use for implementing blockchain-based record management. Okay, and
Okay.
I have a patent on that, and I use that for my solutions, which I give to my clients.
Okay, so that solution is regardless of which industry,
Yeah,
but it can also be applied in the healthcare.
of course, yes,
Okay.
yes. I can show you. You can ask me. I will show you examples, and maybe I'll give you a sample to try it out also.
Can we connect for that offline? Maybe
Yes,
later.
yes, surely, surely.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's about it, Ramesh. Thank you so much for your time and coming and speaking to us. They like I'm sure attendees wants to have the presentation also, so please send them to me so that I can forward it to them.
Yes, I will do that. I will do that.
Okay, I'll see you backstage then.
What is it?
I'll see you backstage. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.